the first time in my life I counted the number of customers there's in the life science sector, and there are around 15 global customers that we are able to serve. And you cannot rush experience. You can get expert very quickly in certain things, but to have a certain experience, it does take time. And this waiter, he was absolutely stunning. He did a fantastic job in not selling us, but still selling us alcohol.
That was good. Hey, Christian.
Michal, good to see you.
Good to see you too. Welcome to our setup of recording a short podcast and publishing it on LinkedIn. I'm very excited. It looks very fancy here. Let me start. So tell us, how did you become an entrepreneur? How did you have an idea of starting your own company?
Well, that question is, I can answer that one. Usually it takes a few hours to answer this, but to cut it short, I hope a bit short. It goes actually back to the year 2000, when I was in a good position with a startup back then who was creating websites. They had a system, a tool to build website on that tool. And we went public. We did our IPO, and we had a big IPO party then in Basel back then in the UBS building. It was all very good. And it was a very interesting time to be at the company, to see the company grow, to bring it to the stock market. But then also that was the time then when the internet bubble was over. The company still survived, but also to see the whole downturn. And yes, it was an amazing experience. And there I kind of decided I want to do this myself one day. Not as an employee, but running a company, trying to achieve the same, or at least in that direction. And then fast forward, I was in Australia, did a full-time MBA there, came home, did a banking certification about finance and banking. There I met a friend of mine who then became my business partner. And in 2009, we together built the first company. There was the first online asset management company in Switzerland. And with that was successful, but we both had other jobs. So we did this like as a hobby on the side for friends and family. But then soon we got even customers through Facebook. Not ads back then, but just people contacting us. And so that was a good experience, but it was never the one thing that we really wanted to live on. So fast forward another few years, I was then with IBM, and then before I started my own company in 2017, I was running the German, Swiss, German, and the Benelux markets for another larger software company that then was bought in 2016 by a Dutch software provider. And again, I was involved. I was in the board of directors. I was supplying or supporting with the whole process of expanding the company up to selling the company to a third party. And then in 2017, I thought, okay, this is it now. I should be enough experienced myself to start my own company. So I've done. And that's now almost 7 years ago. We grew the company from myself and Tanya Palm, from 2 people to around 80, almost 100 people by now, different business units, different businesses. And yes, we would have the opportunity nowadays, if we would want to, with one or the other company to do something bigger. Maybe we could bring it to the stock market, maybe not. We don't know yet where it takes us, but that's basically my story about becoming an entrepreneur.
Great. Yeah, and I think as we worked together before, now I'm really looking forward to work closer with you. After so many years in corporate, I also am very much enjoying the ride so far. So let's tell everybody about our week last week. That was quite a ride so far. How did it start? Did it start for you this week? Was it a good start, stressful start?
Well, it started last Sunday lunchtime when we met at the airport. We went to London, met one of our other colleagues on Sunday afternoon, Petra, and we had a common project that, yes, myself as Capptoo, we engaged with a new larger pharma company that we had no business before with, but it's a one of the world's best known companies. So I'm very proud of that. But I myself alone, we cannot do the project. So once again, I reached out to Michal, to support me on a strategic level, on a consulting level, to run this project together. So that's how the week started. We met in Zurich, went to London, started preparing for the workshop, had other meetings during the week as well. So we took the chance to meet other companies as well. And finally then we had this one-day workshop that whoever knows us was very well prepared. So therefore, I would say it was quite a successful time, a successful workshop with excellent outcomes.
Yeah, yeah, I think the same. It was great exercises. I love how is it called? The news flash exercise, where you define what's going to be written about a certain project, company, or topic in a few months' time. I really enjoy that. That gives great inputs, and also ability for people to feel safe, because it's a newspaper, it's a tabloid, whatever. You don't have to kind of have your own opinion about it. You can sell it as an external opinion. So that was really a great exercise. Also, we had ideas, then we came up with new ideas. So design thinking, I still think it's not just a buzzword if you do it in the right way. So yeah. That was
of course, it's always difficult to find that silver bullet. So that workshop was all about creating ideas or building up on other ideas, on supporting that company to, let's say, to bring something to the market, in a long-term initiative, multi-channel, multi-touch points. But, and it's always starts with a design workshop, ideation workshop, where you look at everything that is around. You do a lot of market research first, company research. You try to figure out what's out there already about the topic in question, and then building up on that topic with new or fresh ideas. And it's always difficult to find that very silver bullet. Sometimes you find it. We found it once with the Onco-Compass, Oncology Compass, remember? And also here we generated about 2.5 dozens of ideas that we then together with the customer verified, and we built on those ideas in order then to have a final outcome. And I think, thanks to you, especially your support, and our team that was also there and online, we surely achieved that one.
Yeah. And it was good we had enough time, right? Sometime I think customers try to shorten workshops to an hour and can come up with the next great idea. I doubt that this is possible. So at least we had a good amount of time to come up with new ideas, and then also talk a bit about execution, about the probability of success and this type of thing. So it became very tangible, very actual, not just theoretical.
It was actually one of a very good learning. Shame it took so long to really learn it, but usually we adapt ourselves to the customer's time period, time they can allocate for such a workshop. And of course, no one is waiting for another project, for another workshop. So therefore, the time is quite short, often 2 or 3 hours time to find a silver bullet. We always do this with customers, but then it's always rushed. We still achieve good outcomes, but now we had 7 hours. And that additional time gives you also some idle time to think, to also have lunch together, to talk about topics already. So my takeaway from this is that we have to discuss this better with the customers, set expectations right, to really tell them that if we want to do only 2 or 3 hours, that's not flying anymore, because we have such a better outcome if we double that time.
Yeah, indeed. No, it was really great. Yeah. And of course, just to mention also, the musical was great that we attended. I think we all have many stories to that one. So we went to see the Book of Mormons in London, right? How amazing is that? I think it once won an Emmy or some kind of award.
2011.
So amazing. And we sat in the front row where you see the orchestra. I found that very, very interesting to see a bit the craft, how they do it. Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah, I tend to want to sit in the 5th, 4th, 6th row. So you have a little bit of distance, you have a bigger picture. But sitting in the front row, you can see every little, sweat in their face, every mimic, every gesture they do. That was absolutely spectacular. And for the audience who has not seen the Book of Mormons, that's something you should put to the bucket list. You learn a lot. It's a lot of fun, and it's also musically, it's a very beautiful musical.
Yeah. So thank you for that. That was amazing. Of course, dinners were also amazing. One thing I wanted to point out is we had this waiter, and there was this sweet wine he wanted to sell us
at the end,
and he did such a fantastic job, and we didn't really want it, but that was a good learning for me in that week, and he was not pushy.
No.
He was very, very good. How he sold us that sweet wine. It was great.
Yeah, that was a good experience. I mean, they're trained on that, but like in our fields as well, you cannot rush experience. You can get expert very quickly in certain things, but to have a certain experience, it does take time. And this waiter, he was absolutely stunning. He did a fantastic job in not selling us, but still selling us alcohol.
That was good. Good. So tell me, as we work closer together, how do you wish to expand your company in this field, in the pharma marketing? What's your vision there?
I'm working out at the moment an expansion plan, as you know, and Michal is part of that expansion plan, which I'm very happy about it. And in that plan, I laid out where we came from, the revenues over the different years, and EBITDA, and with which customers and in which industries. And the first time in my life, I counted the number of customers there's in the life science sector, and there are around 15 global customers that we are able to serve. And once I looked at those customers, I saw that 6 of them are listed at the Swiss Stock Exchange. We have 2 customers listed in the Nikkei in Japan, and then a few on the Dow Jones and a few on the Nasdaq. So I'm very proud of this. This is something very cool to achieve, and we can build on this. So the how to do this, we are present in multiple countries now with multiple customers, with multiple so-called therapeutic areas within these companies, and we are. It's a very close, the life science industry is a very close industry, and our customers move around to the next, probably pharma company as well. And since we are doing quite always a good job, they're taking us as an agency with them to the new company. That's one way of how we're enlarging our our customer base in life science. Another one is we do a lot of, we do many things online. So we're trying to bring our brand across multiple countries, multiple languages, our success stories. That helps a lot. And last but not least, we are taking part of important life science fairs. And you yourself, in the name of your company, our company, you went to San Diego 2 months back for one of those fairs. Another one is now the next Pharma Congress coming up in Dubrovnik. And then, as we decided this week, we're going to be an important part of what's called the Confed Expo, NHS Confed Expo in Manchester in June. And there, mostly on these fairs, the big pharmas are there. They're partaking on sessions, they are holding sessions, they are speakers. Yeah, and that's where we grow our network, and that's how we will be expanding our business.
Yeah, I think it's great, as we discussed before, to extend let's call it the pharma consulting business with more strategic projects. I think very interesting things are lined up.
Yeah.
Very interesting things are in progress.
Yeah.
So out of this, I think we can also generate a lot of value for the different customers, but also the pharma industry in general. And it's very interesting. Again, kind of coming from corporate, I'm super excited in working in so many different projects and driving forward in full speed. That's quite cool.
I mean, I'm not sure how much we can reveal already about this, but because of your experience, especially when it comes to design thinking and strategy consulting, I know your work you've done for your previous work together also with McKinsey. That was very impressive too, and we're building on that as well. And we were able to contract a new customer that is, let's say, it's in America. It's a Japanese company who is outside business out of Japan, is in the United States, and that's attributed to your workshops, your ideas, your running the show there, that we were able to close a very substantial contract with this company, doing something we cannot really discuss now in detail, but it's groundbreaking. There's going to be a lot of talks, and my take is even there are going to be PhD studies written about this topic.
That would be great. Yeah, definitely. I mean, there is a lot of technical innovation that we can do together that can be done in pharma. Again, without revealing any details of the several projects that we have in technology, I think that that will really yield some, patient benefits overall, but also, just let's be honest, benefits for the companies in terms of return on investment.
But now I have this very one question I was meant to ask you. What is it that makes you wanted to work closer together with Capptoo? Do you have one special reason that you like a lot? Or is a multiple reason? Why are we doing this? Why are you doing this?
Yeah. I mean, in general, of course, as I started my own journey and built networks and discussed with actually many different agencies, software agencies, with pharma companies. I think as we know, as we worked with each other before, I really find it great that you so dynamic, and that it is, that we sit here together. I don't sit here with the assistant of the assistant of the assistant, but I can sit here with you. We can brainstorm, and then we can make things happen. So I don't know this sentence in English, what you always say in German, but doing is just key in your company. Of course, we also do PowerPoints, we also do Excels, we also do business cases. But I think it's great, the ideas we had so far over the past few weeks. I'm very confident that we can deliver them. And of course, I knew your team, but now I know it even more extensively. And your team is great. I mean, in the end, you need to work with humans, and the humans that work for you are really great. And I'm, from a professional, but also from an emotional point of view. So I think that is really great. You get things going. Of course, you have a network, a huge network. I think I can contribute to it, but you're a big part of it. And so we can really move mountains. I think that was very interesting for me, and very interesting for me personally was that I don't have to give up my entrepreneurial journey, right? Because it's just a few months. So I really want to continue with that. So that's in short what I thought would be a benefit for me, for you, for everybody.
Yeah. Well, thanks. It's good to hear this. I've been asked all the time, why are we successful? What is that magical thing we have in our company? It's really hard to nail it down. But whenever we do surveys with our staff, with our co-workers, a few things always seems to appear. We are fun to work with. I think you've experienced this now too, also before at the previous company. But I think there's no merit in just going to work and just for money's sake. It would be, if you can have fun while you're working, actually, it's probably one of the silver bullets. And I think we're quite good at that. And now, it's also, we have almost zero fluctuation. We have a very stellar, very stable team for many, many, many years now, and that is really, really lovely to meet us, to have. Yeah, and then other things that always come out is that we seem to have very interesting projects. Of course, when we started, you know that very, very well, we did projects where we just to make something nice, or a PowerPoint presentation, a website, and doing some UX, UI design work. But nowadays we're doing a lot of strategic work for the companies, where we do a lot of product launches, in multiple markets, and this I think, like our team members liked a lot. We have a lot of quite a complexity within our projects now, spanning also multiple countries.
Yeah, and let's not forget. I'm coming from corporate and still working with those important customers while having your own company is kind of the best of both sides, because as everybody knows, I did not leave my former employee because something was wrong. Everything was actually very perfect. I just wanted to have a bit different journey in life, and being able to through you and through my contacts, continue working with such great customers. That's of course a benefit. Let's be honest. I didn't have to go back to industries where I didn't feel very comfortable with. Yeah. So that's great. Yeah.
And to show off a bit, because of you being here now, we were able to tender also for, let's say, larger companies and larger projects. And we have just won a public tender where, a lot of companies around the world were pitching for the project. And I myself would not have been able to win that project. So because of you being there, and we were successful. So 1 + 1 in our case, really makes 4. Not even 3. I think there's one of the big benefits that we can combine our forces and experiences.
Yeah. And let's talk quickly about your internal transformation programs, as we have done together, and you have done, and I have done individually as well. We transformed so many companies: digital transformation, Salesforce transformation, transformation of building international hubs. I think you and we had many different experience. But tell us a bit about how you transform, and then I'll tell you my opinion about it, as you already, of course, let me know, and I can be part of it.
Yeah, so it's probably also to do with experience or gray hair or age. When I started Capptoo, I had a few things that I wanted to be set in stone, in a sense of I wanted not to waste time with topics that could be automated. For instance, from day one, I had an environment, a financial environment that allows me for every company now or business unit to have, on the press of a button, I know the financial situation of the company. I have a P&L, I have a cash flow statement, and I have a balance sheet at every moment in time throughout the whole company. So this is a very stellar environment. And the same we've done with the customer database. We're using a CRM system from day one, where we capture all the contacts, where we nurture the contacts, where we drive our pipelines to get new deals. So that's also something that a lot of startups don't have. They have an Excel sheet and a Word document, but we've done this very structured from the very beginning. And then it's the same with our projects. We had a few projects. We used Trello for project management and task management. And then at one point we became much more complex. So we moved into a more senior system, with that. And so those cornerstones, we have them under control. But now we are again with you as well and other team members now, we experience now another level of complexity in company where, and you have to be frank about that, we don't have a HR department, a traditional HR department. But now it's a time that we actually sort out those processes as well. And then you came into play. I guess that's very referring to with something I never had on my radar, and I'll explain this, how we're going to transform this part now.
Yeah, I mean, that there's several elements of a transformation. There's transparency, there's communication, there's technical tools, there is reports, there's so many things, right? But I think one of elements we could mention is that the whole definition of OKRs, objectives, goals, and so on, which again, I find it funny that we consulted other companies and now it comes back to doing that for yourself, for ourselves, with the tool, and then setting the goal on company level, having clear KPIs, thinking outside of the box, thinking beyond the norm, and then cascading it down to departments, to team leads, and then to everybody individually, to make sure that we have a good OKR system in place. And I think, yes, as you said, the tool that your CEO chose is the right tool, and we can definitely build on that. And this is just one element of a transformation, but that will greatly help to drive one value also for the customers. So yeah,
it's like this digitization now of our analog HR processes now into a software at the end. But yes, rethinking everything we do in the company. Starting from an org chart that we have now created, that sounds so simple, so trivial, but it's not an easy task to do when you want to have the skills and the accountabilities and the responsibilities in the system. So it becomes an automated process, so enable for us to scale better and run the company. So.
No, absolutely. And besides all the, let's say, operational part, also, as you do so much things now in this week, I learned so many different aspects, right? And to expand that more so that every technology expert in your company, every designer, everybody, every consultant that we hire together, everybody will actually be able to see all those elements, all those news, all those different parts, right? So yeah, I think that's great. Yeah. Let me, as we starting to close down, let me think, let me ask you about few topics where I would like to hear a short answer from you.
Try.
Let's not exaggerate, doesn't have to be 10 words or less, but when I talk with potential customers, there are key elements that people start to ask me, such as, what is the key when you do marketing for pharma? What are your key elements that you need to address when you start to think about a new campaign?
Wow, that's a big question to answer in a few words. Pharma, as many know, it's a very regulated environment, so you cannot be as creative in pharma as you are probably in the tourism industry. So you have to understand the boundaries in the pharma company, and every company has then in every country different boundaries. And then our goal is always to test the boundaries as well, because a lot of companies, they've done it now the same way over the last 5 to 10 years. And with us, that's why we were in London as well. They want to have an agency that is innovative, that thinks outside the box, to expand their boundaries. So we have to be in an environment where the customer lets us test these things. They have to be agile enough to accept the challenge that we are now testing stuff that maybe have to be thrown out, that it didn't work at the end. But the key ingredients for doing marketing for pharma is you have to speak the language. You have to know what you're talking about, and not just the name of a drug, about the whole process in the company. When the product starts to come onto the market, how do you launch that product? And you have to, like it's with dating, you have to make a first impression that is sensational. You have to be shaved. It's a good idea. You have to wear nice clothes. And the same when we're doing product launches in pharma, you really have to think, how does the audience perceive that first approach, that first thing about the new drug? There's so many things that go into play. We could write books about this, but you have to understand the language.
Let me contribute to that, because I think one of the elements that you and we now together do particularly well is technology, right? So when you start with a new idea, which can be AI, but it can be also quite down to earth, I would say. In pharma, with the good technologists, you can really make a difference, right? This particular, let's say 2 or 3 projects that we working on in technology, I think this innovative approach to not AI, but even a standard process in a business. If you can, if you can question that, if you can adjust that, and then you have the technologists that can immediately start, as you said, to test things out. So code that you can test. I think that's amazing, an amazing service and skill that we will now, or we have together. And I want to throw you the ball in UX UI, because I'm sure you have a good opinion on UX UI.
So in general, pharma is a conservative business. So they work a lot of information, but we have to try to find out of how to better serve the physician or the clinician or the oncologist, the target audiences. And where it was okay to do just written text and information a few years ago. Nowadays, it has to be emotional. Even in pharma, you can work with visuals, with 2D, 3Ds, visuals or movies. So I think UI, UX, or design in general is of utmost importance if you want to stay successful as a marketeer, not just in pharma, in everywhere we go. And I just want to mention a project that we've done recently. It's a bit long ago now, but we had to do a global campaign for a certain disease. It was an awareness campaign. And we generated more than 3,500 different visuals with different messages for multiple languages, multiple countries. And when you mentioned about having the tools and the control, helping with tools, we also, our specialists, and there are certain tools in pharma where we are doing all these approaches in, and we also got them approved. Because in pharma, regulatory environment, you cannot just say everything you want. You really have to be careful how you talk. And we were also able, within 8 weeks, to get those 3,500 assets approved. And that's thinking outside the box. That's the only possible if you have really experts in a company who understand the new landscape of tools.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think also operating all those marketing tools. So I think now we're closing the journey, right? Yeah. We had the consultancy and we had the strategic advisory. Then we discussed about how to start, or you discussed how to start, let's say, marketing journey, how to do workshops, how to do technologies, design, and how to operate the marketing tools as well, and do the data research and reporting. So I think that's really an exciting journey. So let's close this down and I'll start, to not always pass the hard ball to you, by, what's the vision for the future? And definitely my vision for the future is to deliver value in a innovative way. So not just kind of doing the execution of a certain marketing strategy, but really to think about how can we change the status quo, which of course is a bit of a buzzword, but I think with all the small elements that together are great, we can really achieve it. So that's why I went on my journey. I wanted to do something different. I wanted to bring difference and bring value. So that's my vision. What's your vision?
Good question. In life science, in pharma, the target audience used to be, or is in general, the clinician, the doctor who actually buys a drug. And that's okay. But, there's a lot of merit to also get to know the healthcare consumer, the patients, the end customer with the problems they have, the wishes they have. And my vision is that we better understand the target audience. So really go out and ask the physician, what is it that they really need from us, from marketeers, so they can do a better job. And we all know what the answer is. The one thing they don't have is time. So anything that helps us to help them to save time, so they have more time with the patient, that is beneficial. That's one vision I have, to get to know those physicians, target audience better, and also the end customer. And the other one is, I want to build up like a physician database, different doctors in different what's called therapeutic areas, different specialties. We are building up now this huge database, so we can actually do market research with them, in order again to better serve them at the end.
Great. Well, I think we'll continue experimenting with this format and with the coffee machine. So, well, Christian, thank you very much. And let's continue that journey.
Have a nice weekend.
You too. Thank you. Bye.